Now I'm live. Do you wanna, I'm gonna hang out with you. Do you wanna log in and so we can test the sound? And I'm Wivianny DeHaas. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm also a licensed clinical addiction specialist, and I'm also a registered yoga teacher. I'm going to share the PowerPoint presentation screen so you can view it with me. So here we go. So I am today talking to you from Heart of Salisbury. We're not officially open yet, but we are obviously open. I'm a mental health professional, so is my colleague next door, Dr. Vince Masori. So we obviously are essential workers, so we can be open, but not the other parts of the building. So I'm by myself in this big building today. So the presentation today, the topic is really interesting to me. It's called Wellness as an Extension of Effective Parenting. And the whole concept of this has been brewing in my heart for a long time. I have worked for about many years now. I started in 2005 as a substance abuse counselor, and then started working towards my license in social work as a clinical social worker. I've never worked with PSS. I've never done that type of case management. My work in social work has been mainly as a clinician, as a therapist. I did work for a year as a school social worker in communities, but then again, that was very brief. The bulk of my experience is with clinical work. I also worked for 7 years with the Criminal Justice Partnership Program, which is a defunct program now. Basically, I provided substance abuse counseling to people on probation and some on parole, federal. So wellness has always been at the core of just about any work I have done. And a few years back, I noticed more and more the literature, the peer-reviewed journals to work with clients who had experienced substance abuse or trauma, and a lot of people with substance abuse have experienced trauma, involved some yoga breath work, mindfulness, some different mindful movement, and it just really piqued my interest. And I started taking some trainings that were related to implementing some yoga techniques into therapy. And then I was working at the time at Family Services in Davidson County as a lead therapist. And my stress level, actually I was working at Monarch in outpatient therapy, and my stress level was through the roof. I had too many people in my caseload who I had to see individually, approximately 150 people, which is really unethical. Reason why I got out of that situation, but I did that for years. And I started using restorative yoga and yin yoga as a way to work out the stress out of my body. So that's kind of how I became more and more involved in yoga. So in a roundabout way, I'm trying to explain to you how it's all interconnected. Now, do I believe that yoga is the answer for everything? Absolutely not. Some yoga teachers will tell you that, and sometimes we have very heated discussions with our own yoga teachers. We can't advertise that. We can't say that because yoga is great, but it's not the solution for everything in life. However, there are lots of studies now. There's a whole body of peer-reviewed literature that's growing, showing the benefits of techniques that come from yoga, such as mindfulness and breath work. So today I wanted to kind of focus a little bit on the types of wellness and how it affects parenting. So this concept comes from basically the idea that if I am not well as a parent, if there are things with my physical wellness, my emotional wellness, my mental wellness that are not doing well right now, I am more likely as a parent to lash out than my child. Even as a professional, I'm more likely to be grumpy, to not want to do my work. So wellness, if you think about it, really is the basis for us performing well in life, in any duty we may have. Now, what's the one duty that never ends? Everybody knows, parenting. It never ends, right? Even when they turn 18, I'm told, I have a 16 and a 15-year-old. It doesn't end there. It's forever.
Mm-hmm.
Forever. Anybody disagree with me? I mean, is there a magic number when they cease to be your responsibility and they're done? They're not coming to you anymore for answers and problems? Oh, Callie, yours are a little farther than mine. So.
No, they're still coming to you.
Exactly. So I want you to think about wellness as that's something that you do, not just for you. You take care of yourself, because when you do that, then you are a better parent. Then you are more effective. And I don't like the word better. It applies judgment. I really like to use the word effective, an effective parent. And I'll encourage everyone to move your language from good, bad, better, good, to language such as effective, ineffective. It takes the weight of judgment out of the equation, and it helps you be more gentle. So the next slide is the big question: what is wellness? And I would like to elicit feedback from it. What do you guys think is wellness? Because there's not one right definition. It's really a discussion. Anybody want to chime in?
Taking care of yourself and being at peace with yourself.
Yes, that's great. Great to say peace with yourself. I love that. I didn't think of that. That's great. I might use it. I might borrow that. So anything that contributes to your well-being, to your health, that's wellness, right? So if you think about this term, it is so broad, and there are so many quacks out there. Let's just be honest, right? There are people, I don't even know what kinds of stuff people drink nowadays to feel well. I mean, come on, it's not that complicated, but there's a whole industry out there that's really out to get you money. Let's be honest, right? This word wellness is being attached to marketing strategies now. But the core of the word means your well-being. It means things that contribute to your health, that help you be at peace with yourself. So I wanted to divide up the different parts of wellness when we think about a person. So different aspects of wellness. So we have physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness, and we have spiritual wellness. And we forget that each one of these parts is just as important as the other. People focused a lot on wellness as aromatherapy, oils. Who in here, every time you hear wellness, somebody's bringing out the lavender? Feedback, please.
I hate lavender.
Somebody hates lavender. Who was that? Was that Kelly?
That was me.
That's hilarious. I have a yoga student. Really interesting. But, wellness is more than that. It's more than people basically, selling, marketing different quirky products. It's very different from that. It's just a simple concept of being at peace with yourself, of bringing health into your life. That's what it is. So if we look at wellness divided up into these 4 categories, we'll start with physical wellness. And most people know a lot about physical wellness, and they talk a lot about physical wellness. So we know fresh air and sunlight, especially in this age of COVID-19. they're talking more and more and more about the importance of fresh air and sunlight now. And fresh air meaning not just going outside, but maybe raising your windows when the weather's permitting outside, making sure your HVAC system brings in fresh air. Some HVAC systems don't bring in fresh air. And as you know, we just finished this building. I just had a very interesting conversation with people yesterday. Something we're asking our engineer, how many liters per minute of fresh air per occupant do we get in our new building? So I'm happy to say we get more than the recommended, but now there's a recommendation that we all should get 5 to 10 liters per minute of fresh air in the building, wherever you are. Some systems don't do that, but there's a simple solution to that. Go outside, open your window. And kids need that. Here's the other thing that I should have brought up in the beginning. Everything you do related to wellness, your child will echo in their lives. If they don't see you doing these things, they will not echo it because they just don't. We don't know what we don't know. So it is very important for you to practice wellness for yourself. It will help you with emotion regulation. It will help you be effective as a parent. It will also help you model an important skill set in life for your kid. So the other aspect of physical wellness we don't hear a lot about is sleep hygiene. So what is sleep hygiene? This is something that I think I went over this with every single therapy client I have ever had. It's simple things, but people just don't think about this. For example, sleeping with the TV on in your room. That blue glare that we get from the TV tells your brain to stay alert. So you're not truly getting restful sleep if you have that going on while you are trying to sleep. The other thing is drinking caffeine in the evening. Or I hope no one who's listening right now in this webinar is still smoking. I hope this is something you have conquered in your life, but if you have not, nicotine. I worked with so many clients that would smoke right before going to bed, which it's a psychoactive drug. Nicotine will keep your brain going. So that's another reason to quit. And sleep hygiene also includes things like making sure your room is cool enough. Sometimes a fan, white noise is very helpful. Getting rid of any kind of blue or green light from electronics, because that can actually tell your brain to stay alert. Making sure that you have comfortable bedding that is clean. Those are very simple things, but people miss that. And then getting adequate amount of sleep. And a lot of times people develop sleeping disorders due to anxiety or depression or different things going on. So it's important to address whatever is the underlying cause of the sleep disorder. And sleep disorder is a serious issue. I also worked for a few years in inpatient mental health. I worked for a year full-time there and also did part-time work weekends. And I cannot tell you enough how important sleep is. How, if you go enough days without sleep, you can get psychotic. It looks like schizophrenia, but it's not. It's sleep deprivation. So, very important. And
Vivian,
yes, ma'am.
there's like a background noise, and some people are commenting that your voice is cutting in and out. It's like a static noise.
Okay, let me see if I can. Is that better?
I can still hear it. Your voice is just very quiet because the static noise is drowning you out.
Maybe I'll move it. Is that any better moving it?
I can hear you better. Keep talking.
Okay, can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah, a little bit better. I can still hear the static background noise, but I can hear you better now.
That's interesting. There's no noise here. It's the rain. I'm near a window, so maybe it's the rain.
That could be it.
All right, so moving on to the next thing, healthy water fluid consumption. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but dehydration affects your cognition. It affects your decision-making ability. So even just 1%, a very low level of dehydration can have a serious impact on your ability to progress. So it's very important to stay hydrated. And juice does not count in, neither does caffeine. And that's another issue that I've always encountered with clients is drinking tea with caffeine. If it's herbal tea, it's different, but caffeinated tea is not a good way to hydrate. And good nutrition. As you guys know, that's something that we are working on, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of So this is Heart of Salisbury, and nutrition is very important. One of the things that I have found out with my friends is that a lot of people, and my friends I'm talking about Libby Post, they're nutritionists, is that a lot of people basically dry beans, dry grains, so we created a kitchen. I don't know if you guys can see it here. I'm going to unshare so you can see this. So as you can see, we have a kitchen. We have a camera that points to the chef's station right here. And then it broadcasts it on the screens. Over there's another screen. I know there's a glare there, it's the chandelier. And basically, we have these stations here where we'll have, as of right now, we're gonna have to remove a table and have just 2 people per table, but this is set up for 16 people to be able to cook in these stations, okay? And then you can watch the chef through the screen right there. And we have our ovens on that side, our refrigeration is coming in. So the whole concept, can you guys hear me okay? I feel like I'm echoing, is that we want food education. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can actually hear you better in here. It's like it's able to amplify your voice.
Oh, good. So the whole concept of food education was born out of basically the necessity that we have here to teach not just kids, but parents how to cook. And we're all overworked, right? We all have long days, and it's really hard to spend 3 hours cooking. So one of the things I've been working on is coming up with Chef Eileen. We have a chef who will be working here with simple, easy menus that families can do together in the evenings. One of the greatest missed opportunities, in my opinion, as a therapist for families and kids, especially teens, is families not eating dinner time together. I mean, it's amazing to me. I talked to so many kids who would tell me that each person would go and grab food whenever they wanted and go in whatever room they wanted. They never sat together at the table. And I can't tell you how many times my homework for the families and the kids was, you have to eat dinner together at least 3 times a week. So, you know, just something to think about. And it's not even just what you eat, it's how you eat. If you are eating every meal in front of a television, there's research to show that what happens is basically you're not tasting your food. You're not being mindful of how much you're eating, how fast you're eating, how you're chewing, because you're not mindful. You're not in the moment. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And that's something that Heart of Salisbury, you know, that's one of the things we we want to bring to Salisbury, North Carolina. So going back to the PowerPoint. So nutrition is very important, but so is how you eat. Very, very important. Just a little funny thing. There's a study where basically they had two groups. They had, they always have that control group. And what they did is they had one group with really awful, nasty pizza with a movie on eating pizza. And they had to grade how good or how bad the pizza was. And then they had another group where basically they had really nasty, awful pizza, the same pizza, but without the movie playing. No music, no distractions, and they had to also rate the pizza. And then, of course, they had the control group where they had, they had pretty much normal pizza, how it is. They had to control everything to make sure that it makes sense, whatever you're measuring. So what they concluded from that study was that the people who had bad pizza and were watching TV while they were eating a movie, they actually didn't think the pizza was bad at all because they weren't tasting it. They weren't mindful. The people who were actually just eating and not watching anything really thought the pizza was lousy. So that goes to show you, when you are mindful and all you have in front of you is you're taking in your food with all your senses, then you are able to have better impulse control with your food. You're able to make better decisions, and you're able to taste things better. So just food for thought there, no pun intended. And then physical activity. So I want to do something really quick with you. And physical activity, just to clarify, can be anything. It does not have to be going to a gym. I myself am one of those people who pays for the YMCA because I love the YMCA, but do I go to the YMCA? No. Probably why I had to start a yoga studio, so I had to go. But I want you to think about physical activity as an extension of movement, not necessarily a specific type of physical exercise, but moving around, taking a walk. I've never seen so many people walk in my neighborhood. It's great. That's the one positive thing I have seen from all of this happening now. And then rest. And rest doesn't mean necessarily sleep. It means take a break, take a nap, rest, veg, spend a little bit of time doing nothing. And it's important to be able to do nothing. That's very important, just as important as being able to be productive. And then, of course, addressing physical ailments. I can't even begin to tell you how many parents I've worked with who would put off going to the doctor, getting dental care, doing anything like that. They would just push it because they didn't have time. So I want to really encourage you to address your physical health. If you have an ailment, if you have a funny mole, oh well, there's a funny mole there, but I just don't have time to go to the doctor, go to the doctor. That's part of wellness. And self-care. We all think self-care is the cutesy, pampering things, getting nails done. That's not self-care. Self-care is taking care of your body in a way that promotes good health for you. All right, next slide. So mental wellness. I don't know, has anyone ever heard the term HALT? H-A-L-T?
Nope.
That's a term I use a lot in therapy, and a lot of other therapists do too. It stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Anytime you are hungry, angry, lonely, tired, you're more likely to lash out. You're more likely to use words you wish you hadn't used. You're more likely to act out of reaction, like react, instead of being intentional in how you respond. So, and if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pyramid that shows you, the basic needs, starting with food, shelter, safety, that's what we are addressing. So if you think about HALT, HALT is kind of like your basic needs. You've heard the term hangry. I'm sure everybody talks about hangry. It goes in the same lines. So you won't make good decisions if you are HALT, if you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And also, again, your emotions won't be as regulated. So, and then the next thing as far as mental wellness, having access to at least 3 people who are trustworthy and can help you process different things in your life. That's very important. I'm not talking about just people you see casually. I'm talking about people who you can really have an open conversation with them. Now, where did I get that from? Any ideas? Any guesses? Somebody out there must know where I got this from. Anybody? No? Well, there's a lot of research. Communities in schools, I love that organization. I don't know if anyone is involved with them who's here today. Communities in schools has done a lot of research to find out what helps kids who are at risk. What's the missing link? And one of the things they identify is the lack of having 3 adults that kids can talk to. That is very, very important. It helps them develop in a better, how can I say this? It actually mitigates some of the risk that some teenagers especially might have in adolescence, having 3 adults. And it goes for younger kids too. And this carries on to adults. If we live a life where we are completely isolated from others and we don't have people we can talk to, where is that going? It's all getting bottled up. So it's important to be able to process with people we trust. And then mindfulness. Mindfulness means simply one thing, being present, which you probably remember a few years back when it was all about multitasking. You know, that's just not possible. Your brain can only focus well on one thing at a time. If you are multitasking, at least one of those tasks is not being done to your best ability because it's not possible. So mindfulness is basically being with your mind fully focused on one thing at a time, being present, being here. And then working on relationships. That's also very important for mental wellness. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Next, emotional wellness, building emotional resilience with mindfulness. So what does that mean when it relates to emotions? And why is this wellness? Well, mindfulness comes from Eastern philosophy. It comes from yoga. Yes, it comes from ancient. Yoga is over 5,000 years old. And mindfulness has been practiced in Eastern cultures for a long, long time. For thousands of years. It's nothing new. It's new to the West, but it's not new to the East. So what does it mean to practice mindfulness with emotions? It means being able to sit with emotions. Why do people act out? Why do adults act out? Because the emotion gets so uncomfortable, they start to react. So if we can learn to sit with pain, sit with hurt, sit with sadness without reacting or doing ineffective behaviors to change the feeling, by just sitting there, observing the emotions, understanding that emotions just are. They're neither good or bad, they just are. They're like the waves in the ocean. They crest, they come up, and then they go back down. So there's a very deep understanding that goes with mindfulness. Understanding how your sensations in your body happen with different emotions. Understanding how different emotions trigger different types of thoughts in your mind. It doesn't mean you stop them. It just means you become aware. You become present. That's emotional resilience. And that's a way to build emotional resilience. If you're able to sit with your emotions and you can truly observe what's happening in your thoughts and
physical sensations and you don't react in the moment, but you sit and observe, that's actually emotional resilience. And that's also helping you exercise that resilience muscle and continue to increase that resilience. So labeling emotions without judgment, that is so important for kids. So as a therapist, this was like amazing to me how so many kids couldn't label what they're feeling or felt bad if they felt sad. So aside from feeling sad, they also felt shame with it. Now, why are kids feeling shameful when they're angry, sad, or any of those emotions? Because we're not teaching them. We need to teach them that those are normal. Yeah, we have happy emotions, but you know what? It's okay to make room for the sad, for the painful, for the anger. Yeah, those are real emotions too. And we're not bad people for having them. So it's very, very important for you as an adult, as if you work with kids, if you have kids, it doesn't matter. Label your emotions every time. Say you stump your toe on something. Ouch, I'm upset. That hurt. I'm kind of angry at myself for walking into that desk. Let me stay here for a minute and breathe. Take some deep breaths. Show the kid. It's an opportunity to show the kids around you that you have emotions too, and they will too. And there are things you can do, like take deep breaths, but it's not comfortable, and it's not always going to be comfortable. So this is very important, and it's part of wellness. Grounding through sensorial mindfulness and breath during emotional distress or emotional peaks. This is also another thing that kids in school don't have. And by the way, how many people are here that work with kids? Like, that's your job?
I do, and a lot of us here do as well.
Okay. So there's a really, do we have anyone who works with autistic kids with autism in the spectrum?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the partners in learning families are teachers as well as our early intervention specialists do.
Okay. Do we have anyone who has been to any teach trainings? I have. Who was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't see it.
Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly. All right. Kelly and I go a long way back. So going back to, okay, so interesting. So Teach has a really cool set of trainings. They used to be like webinars, but they're recorded. And I think they're great for anybody, not just people who work with kids in the spectrum. They have one specifically about working with kids who have anxiety. And then they have one about behavioral management in the classroom. So those trainings are excellent because they teach you how to basically do timeout in an effective way. So what they teach you in those is to set up basically a way for kids to ground themselves, label emotions and ground themselves through their senses, through different activities. So when they go back to the classroom, that wasn't a punishment, that was a reset time for them. So we all need that. We all need our little reset time. And grounding is just that. So if anyone is interested, let me know later. There's some really cool strategies you can do in a classroom to help kids ground and reorient them back to the class, to the activity. Let me know if that's something you're interested. But for us adults, how do you ground? Well, it's very simple. Just stop whatever else, be present in a moment. I worked a lot with people who had panic disorders, and this is one of the things that we do. We learn to recognize the stress through physical, behavioral, cognitive cues. And then immediately when you feel that coming, you start to just connect to your senses. For example, sense of touch. Grab a hold of a worry stone, or if you don't have a worry stone, or if you don't have something that's specific for that, grab a pen. And in your mind, be completely present in feeling the texture of the pen, the temperature of the pen, describing the color. All in your mind, you're doing this. You're grounding by observing an object. You can do that by placing your hands on the side of the chair, and then you're basically holding, feeling the texture of the chair, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your bottom against the chair, feel your back against the chair, and then take deep breaths. That's how you ground, okay, in a nutshell. And then building coping skills to sadness, anger, hurt, shame. So the more coping skills you build with emotional wellness, the better parent you will be, the better teacher you will be, and the happier you will be. Because frankly, what happens when we lash out of a reaction? We're reactive instead of responding to a situation. We feel like crap the next day or a few hours later, right? We're like, man, why did I yell at that person? Man, why did I give that answer to that person? Oh no, why did I send him to timeout like that? Because we just didn't take the time to take a breath, to ground, to notice the emotion, and to intentionally think how we needed to respond. Because we felt and we reacted. So we're trying to create a distance between felt and reacted. We're trying to stretch that so it becomes, I felt, I took a breath, I paid attention, I was mindful, and I responded. So then you get the result you want. So that's why emotional wellness is so important in this. And then building relationship skills and working on relationships. Example, know how to ask. I cannot tell you enough. My teenage daughter, we've been working on this for a couple years now. A couple years ago, if you said, go ask the server for a fork. Oh my gosh, no, I'm not doing that. Knowing how to ask, it is so important. And also, know when to say no and how to say no. For example, the way we say no to somebody, for example, the way I say no to my daughter is different than the way I say no to a supervisor. So there are different levels of no. There is the hell no, right? And then there's like, maybe a different time. That's what you say to the boss, right? Maybe a different time. But to the kid, it's a different type of no, depending on the situation. So those are important skills, and it's part of emotional wellness. Spiritual wellness, practice mindfulness to feel connected to your higher power. Feed your mind what feeds your faith. I cannot tell you enough. So garbage in, garbage out. If you are constantly watching things that are not really helping you grow spiritually, of course there are times you just watch things for entertainment. But if you're feeding yourself with a lot of things that bring you down, it's going to reflect in your ability to feel faith and hope. So think about that. Feed your mind what feeds your faith. Notice thought patterns that disconnect you from hope and faith. That's also very important. If you wake up one day and every thought you're having is very negative and you're putting yourself down, how does that impact your faith and your hope, your ability to feel hope? You can't have faith without hope, right? So, and by the way, what is depression? Hopelessness, haplessness, helplessness. So if you start to feel hopeless for too long, then it becomes more than just hopeless. It becomes depression. So I want to really encourage you to start to notice those things within yourself. And again, be vocal about some of those things. If you're having a difficult day and you're like, I have negative talk in my head today, I need to do something that's going to switch that. It's good to share that with kids sometimes, especially if you have older kids, because it helps them learn to do that for themselves. And then meditate, pray. I saw some little meme not too long ago that prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you basically you listen. I don't post that because, you know, some people don't believe in God. Some people are atheists, and I have nothing against them, so I don't want to offend anyone, but I thought that was really interesting. And to me, that really makes sense. Connect with others through acts of service. Here's something else. It's actually, there's studies and studies and studies that show that when you do acts of service for others, when you give of yourself to others, you are the one getting the greatest benefit, because it really increases happiness in your life and your connection to your faith and your higher power. Stay curious and open to your purpose in life. That's kind of a given, but you wouldn't believe how many people haven't thought about that in forever. And then they wonder why. They don't know what's wrong with their life. You know, they don't ever stop to think about, there's a higher purpose for my life. Have meaningful, I think I misspelled that one. Have meaningful conversations with friends and loved ones. Have someone who can process difficult situations with you. All right, so what can help with physical wellness? Well, yoga. And by the way, yoga not only helps the physical, but also mental, because when you are practicing yoga, you're learning to sit with discomfort, and you're learning to breathe through the discomfort. And that's where the greatest benefit of yoga comes from. Now, there are different types of yoga. There's yoga for people who are what I call yoga Barbies. You know, they're flexible, bendy. That's not me, by the way. And then there's yoga for people who are looking for more of like a wellness practice, where you're truly connecting your mind and your body, and you're not just moving fast from pose to pose. Both have their benefits. I encourage anyone who has never taken a yoga class to maybe try one, but try one that is not something, let's just say, do your research. Find out which type of class might work for you. If you have knee issues, don't go to a class where they are basically putting you in different poses that's going to hurt your knees. If you have back issues, make sure your yoga teacher knows that and you do an appropriate class. If you've never done yoga whatsoever, make sure it's a beginner appropriate class. If you are uncomfortable and you're kind of self-conscious about your body, hey, this is a great time to try an online class and just turn off your camera. They don't have to see you. So I highly encourage that. Now, is yoga the answer for everything? No, I'm never going to say that to you. But it does help build emotional resilience. That it does. Also, it helps tone your body. It helps increase your flexibility. It helps also help you balance. That's a huge thing. When we start to age, we start to lose our ability to balance. With yoga, you can actually get better with age. Any type of stretching, again, I can't tell you enough. And we're going to do one together, okay? So everyone, go ahead. Make sure you are sitting nice and tall, okay? Sit on your chair. This is something I teach my students when they travel. You can do this in a car. You can do this in a train. You can do this in a plane. Not that anyone's flying right now, but you could. So we are going to move our spine in 6 different ways. I'm going to move this a little farther so you can see. Can you see me? All right. I'm going to move my chair a little back. All right. So if you are sitting on your chair there, begin to kind of ground yourself. Feel the spine nice and tall. Uncross your legs, have both feet on the ground, okay? Then take a deep breath and then bring your arms up with you. Deep inhale. Fingertips together and then release the breath very slowly. There we go. Nice little stretch there. There we go. Now one more time, we're going to raise our hands up. Inhale. And then twist to the left and exhale. Then bring Your right arm to the edge of the chair and the left arm sort of like behind the chair. Feel that twist? Then back, hands back up, inhale up, one twist. And then twist to the right, bringing out the left hand to the side of the chair and right hand behind you. Releasing the breath completely. Then palms up, actually arms up once again. Breathe. Palms together, bring it to the heart, release the breath. There we go. Then arms to the side. If your chair has arms, you can place your left hand on the chair arms there. The arm of the chair. Then inhale your right arm up. And then exhale, just kind of hinging to the side there. And both arms back up, inhale. And then exhale, come to the opposite side. And both arms up together, inhale. Palms together, bring it to the heart. Then let's place the hands on the knees. We're gonna do seated cat and cow. So if you've ever done yoga, you know what I mean, but we're sitting. So no strain on your knees. So deep inhale, and then open the chest, shoulders slightly back, chin forward, and then exhale. Tuck the chin slightly in, round the shoulders, release the breath. Inhale, chest forward, shoulders back. And then exhale, round the shoulders, round the spine. One more time, inhale, shine your heart. And exhale, round the spine, back into cat. And let's just come back up to a seated pose. How does that feel? You just moved your spine 6 different ways. That simple, that easy. You just did yoga and stretching. So walking, strength training, and I want to remind everybody that it does not have to be specifically a physical exercise. It can be gardening, cleaning. Those are all physical activities. And then what can help with mental wellness? Therapy counseling with a licensed clinician, such as a licensed clinical social worker, a clinical psychologist, a licensed professional counselor, or a licensed family and marriage therapist, an LMFT. There are a lot of people now out who are life coaches. Life coaching is for a goal, okay? So if you have a goal and that's all you have, or you have a business goal, that's where the life coach comes in. But if you truly want to have somebody who has to follow ethics based on their profession, who has a board overseeing them, then go with a licensed professional. And then what else helps with mental wellness? Become aware of halt and address your needs accordingly. And then build mindfulness skills by practicing daily. So mindfulness, one really great exercise is to practice mindfulness while you're brushing your teeth. Feel the toothpaste. Feel how the toothbrush feels on your gum line, on your teeth. The water. If you have an electric toothbrush, feel that vibration. Just be completely in the moment for the 2 minutes you're brushing your teeth. That's a good exercise to start. Another one that I really like is washing dishes and using mindfulness. Being completely in a moment, feeling that water, being aware of exactly every sensation, everything that's happening in that moment. And then tend to relationships regularly. What can help with emotional wellness? Practice noticing emotions before reacting to them. Then choose to respond instead of reacting. Practice being gentle with yourself and your thoughts. Practice grounding when you don't, because when you don't need them, forgot to put something there, and the need arises for them, you will have the skill set. Find what coping skills work for you, and remember that not every skill works every time. Practice healthy relationships daily. So these are just, some, I guess, a composite of a lot of therapy sessions I've had in my life with different clients. And I wanted to talk to you about the concept of Heart of Salisbury. So the concept is that we have clinicians here. We have Dr. Vince Pastore, who is a clinical psychologist. We have myself as an LCSW. We're looking for one more person to be here as well. Each one of the wellness folks who works here is completely independent. So they're not under Heart of Salisbury. They rent space here. That's all they do. What Heart of Salisbury runs are the mindfulness classes, yoga classes, and the cooking classes, and the wellness shop. That's it. Everybody else is independent. So if you're wondering, okay, how do I connect to a therapist? Do you recommend somebody? If you're looking for somebody who can do great work with both kids and adults, the one person at Salisbury that I know of, and he works right here, is Dr. Vince Pastore. He's a clinical psychologist. He actually has been doing play therapy for a long time, and that's very important, especially for kids under the age of 7. Talk therapy doesn't work for young children, as you guys know. So play therapy is the recommended modality. And Vince, Dr. Pastore, is a great clinician. So I highly recommend him. There's his number. If you know somebody who you're thinking, they might need a referral, or even for yourself. He's a great clinician. So I'm going to give you a little bit more of a tour, and then I'm going to open up for questions, okay? So this office, I'll stop sharing. So there's the view right there, downtown Salisbury. So this is one of the offices. This is Dr. Pastore's office. And we have also 4 massage therapists here. And massages are great because it helps you work out stress and tension from your body. But again, I'm not going to say to you that to practice wellness, you have to pay huge amounts of money. The things I gave you today are all free things that you have at home. You can practice them at home. So this is one of the massage therapy offices. The lady who is here, her name is India Little. She's a nurse at the VA and a part-time massage therapist.
India Little.
You know India?
Yes, I think I work with her mom.
Mm-hmm. She's awesome. And this is Erin. This is another amazing. Bodywork by Erin is her business name. She used to be an EC teacher. So she has 2 kids now, and she needed the work flexibility, so she does massages full time now. But she was a teacher for many, many years. So here's our little lobby. We have more artwork coming soon. So this is all wellness wing. By the way, we have an infrared sauna here. Yeah, we have an infrared sauna. I can't wait to get in there. But, everybody's so scared of germs. I'm like, let's not use any of that right now. And then you guys have seen the kitchen. A big kitchen. So there it is. And then here we have our yoga studio, one of them. By the way, we have aerial yoga coming, where we actually all get to hang like bats from the ceiling. No, I'm just kidding. It's hammocks. We have hammocks that hang in the ceiling. And here's our second yoga studio. It has a mirror. And we have belly dancing classes starting June 5th. We need some fun, don't we? Here's our prop closet, which we will not be using once we open because we have to, you know, the COVID-19, we don't want anything contaminated. So people will have to bring or buy their own props. Here's the old bakery lockers. Again, people won't be able to put their belongings here just yet, but once this is over, they will. Here's our retail shop. We're still working on getting things here, but give you an idea. There's the window with the mannequin. So that's, in a nutshell, Heart of Salisbury. We have yoga, cooking classes. We have mindfulness classes with Sasha Roberts. She works for the school system too. She'll be teaching a class Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., starting June 1st. And all classes are $10. And then we have the belly dancing starting with June 1st, on June 1st. I mean, 5th.
And how much does it cost, the belly dancing?
Belly dancing classes. So that's 6 classes, 6 Fridays. We're skipping July 3rd, but it's 3 Fridays. And it's $60 for all classes.
You're going to lead the belly dancing, right?
Oh my gosh, I cannot dance to save my life.
And where is located?
So we are located downtown, across from the smoke pit. There's a parking lot, and we're in the back of the parking lot. So I'll go back and show it to you so you can visually see.
You give me the physical address. I put on my GPS and that's it.
Yeah, so the physical is 120 East Inner Street.
120 East
Yeah.
Inner Street.
But if your GPS sends you to near Walmart, we're nowhere near Walmart.
Yeah, okay.
So
okay.
we still have like the doors are still kind of covered up, but I'm going to open the door so you guys can see. So we are right in the back of the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Italian grill. You might be able to see it from here. I'm not sure. So if you think of Dee's Jewelry, there's the back of it right there.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, guys, do you have any other questions for me? I don't know, like if I talk too fast or if anything, you guys are like, oh, I missed that, let me know.
Wivianny, I think you've done a great job, and I love the studio. I can't wait to see it in person. I'm so excited.
Yes, I can't wait either. So we have somebody doing our, by the way, this is our view from the back door. We're waiting to get a virtual tour video done next week.
Exciting. And for all those in attendance, if you did happen to miss something or you want to go back and review Wivianny's presentation, we will be saving this presentation and uploading to our YouTube page. So please be sure to subscribe and like so that you can view this video on our YouTube page.
Thank you. Any questions before we end it today?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you sticking with me. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. Wonderful job. Wonderful.
Thank you, Nori. All right. Bye.
Bye.